When women have money, authority, and ethically built businesses, different things get funded, different things get built, and different people get to lead. That's not idealism. That's how power can actually move. And it's one of the reasons that the internal work, building yourself as a business owner, matters as much as it does, not just for your results, but for what your results make possible for you, yes, but also for those around you and for the wider world too. If you have been in the online business space for any length of time, you've probably seen and felt a tension around different approaches. On one side, there's a model of high pressure launches, manufactured urgency, positioning built on exaggeration, and a hustle that never quite ends. And on the other, something in you looks at all that and thinks, well, that's not what I'm here to build. And then the doubt comes in. Is holding the line that feels true for you actually costing you? Is the more grounded approach just slower? Is it commercially naive to care about how you build your business? I've sat with that doubt a lot, but what I've come to understand is that that's not confusion, it's discernment. And it's pointing at a real opportunity, not just for you in honoring how you prefer to run your business, but about the moment that we're actually in. So before we get into it fully, welcome back. I'm Lyndon. This channel is about entrepreneurial leadership, what it actually takes to build a business that's yours, that lasts, and that reflects who you are. If you're new here, this one brings together some of the bigger picture behind everything that we have been building over the weeks so far. So let's talk about what's actually happening and why it matters. The dominant model of leadership, and I'm talking from the perspective of operating in Western society, the model of leadership that shaped how business and institutions and power structures have operated for a very long time is extractive. It concentrates resources upwards. It runs on hierarchy. It treats people and time as things to be optimized and used. And that produces burnout, inequality, and a world that many of us look at and think, it wasn't supposed to be this way. Do you agree with that? We've inherited it as though it's simply how things are, but it isn't how things have to be. We're in a genuine moment of shift. We could go in different directions to dive deeper into that, but enough to say for now that what's possible going forward operates on different principles. Connection over separation, care as a real force rather than a soft add-on that's denigrated, intuition valued alongside and as much as analysis, positive collaboration over competition. These are the qualities that the old model suppresses and historically has done so quite deliberately because they were threatening to it. And the revaluing of them, the shift, is what conscious leadership is actually about. And here's where your business comes in. When money and influence and visibility move into the hands of people who hold different values, different things happen. The decisions made from a place that values connection, care, human equity, and positive collaboration, they're different. The structural models built from that place are different. The leadership modeled from that place reaches further than the individual businesses themselves through how you use what you build, what you invest in, what you make possible for the people who come after you. We talked about some of this in this video here, what conscious leadership actually means for women in business in the context of the witch wound and inherited disempowerment. This is a continuation of that thread because what we're talking about now isn't just stepping out from the shadow of what was suppressed. It's understanding what it was suppressed in service of and choosing to build differently. And this is precisely why building the business owner matters as much as it does, not just for your results, but because the quality of your leadership, our leadership, is the mechanism through which this shift either happens or doesn't. A business owner who is fearfully reactive, who outsources their authority, who makes decisions from anxiety rather than from discernment, who burns themselves out trying to keep up with a model that was never built for them, they can't be a carrier of a different way. Not because they're not capable, but because they haven't yet built the internal capacity that allows them to lead from the values that they hold. Building the business owner is how this all stops being an aspiration and starts becoming real. When you build this capacity as a business owner, something shifts positively in how you relate to your business. You start to notice that the decisions that you're making are coming from a more grounded place. You're not scrambling or second guessing after the fact. You look at what you're doing and you can trace it back to yourself, to your values, to your authority, and to your own judgment, not because you've done everything perfectly, not because you made perfect decisions, but because the decisions have been genuinely yours. And when that old model pulls at you, the urgency, the pressure, the comparison, you notice it, but you don't get dragged along with it. Not from a stubborn place, note to self, but from clarity about what you're actually building and why. The care, the collaboration, the intuition that are already in you start showing up in your work naturally, not just as a value statement on your website, as a way of operating. And your clients feel it, the people in your industry feel it, and the women who come after you feel it in ways that we won't necessarily see. And that's what it means to be part of a change rather than just a business. Your values, your vision, your goals, these stop being things that you just articulate and start being things that you act from consistently, even when it's slower, even when the louder approach seems to be working for everyone around you. You know you've made a decision that's right for you, and that matters more. The key shift from this video then is building sustainably and building strategically are not at odds with each other. For the people who hold these values, it's the same thing. Doing it well, with integrity, with care, with genuine authority is not a softer or less competent version of building a business. It's a more strategically significant one. Something worth sitting with this week. Where in your business are the qualities that you actually believe in? Care, connection, your own discernment. Where are they already showing up naturally? And where is the old model still running? Not because you chose it, but because either you didn't realize that's what it was, or you haven't yet built the internal capacity to replace it. Next week, I want to get really practical. We're going to look at some of the more commercially costly patterns that I see when you're beyond the beginner stage of business. The difference between a genuinely strategically sound pivot and a fear response when you just change things up, and how to tell them apart in real time under pressure. So if premature direction changing is something that you recognize in your own business, then that one is going to be worth your time. If you are ready to take practical steps towards becoming the business owner that you want to be, one who's part of the shift that I've been talking about, there's a link in the description of this video to find out more about Recalibrate, your 30-day practice to confident decision making, so that you can make decisions that are genuinely yours, not reactions to the noise. If you have found this conversation useful and you're interested in exploring this way of doing business, that's what this channel is here for. And subscribing means you're here for what's coming next. I would love to see you back. So leave me a like on your way out the door and tell me what's coming up for you through this conversation in the comments below. I would love to connect with you there. Bye for now.